today we're going to try out 5 activities for a January reset. So January is full of messages about giving things up and setting big goals. New year, new me. You heard a bit of that? But for us carers, that just kind of adds pressure. It highlights how little time, energy, and headspace we have. And there's a risk that in brushing all that noise aside, like, oh, all this New Year stuff's not for me, we might also accidentally brush aside our own needs. So today we want to create a more supportive and achievable way of starting the new year with more intention. But by the end of the event, we hope that we'll have tried out 5 simple and accessible activities that we can add to our toolkits that will feel just in the moment, feel a bit more relaxed and grounded, that will be connected with our own needs, what we do and what we don't want. And it'll hopefully inspire a little purpose and control over our own lives. So the activity I'm going to be sharing is a simple 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding activity, which might be something you're already familiar with. And this is known as a really helpful tool to help with anxiety. Lots of practitioners will share this tool for people that are learning how to manage their own anxiety. So it's a great takeaway for that, but it's also a great way to ground yourself and connect yourself with the here and now before starting other activities as well. So let's have a go at that together. I'm going to share my screen just to give you a bit of a guidance as we go through, because again, not everyone, following someone's voice isn't always easy. So let me first explain what we're going to do and then we'll do it together. So in a moment, we're just going to relax and get ourselves into a comfy position. And then I'm just going to talk us through, so you don't have to remember all these. First of all, thinking of 5 things you can see, just noticing 5 things you can see around you and just naming them. And you can say them out loud, that's fine if that's helpful. Or you can say them in your head. 4 things you can hear, just noticing and tuning into the sounds around us. 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So we'll go through that slowly together and then we'll chat a bit about it at the end. So first of all, just get yourself relaxed, sit comfortably, take a few breaths just to relax yourself and connect yourself with kind of where you are, sitting in your chair, on your bed, propped up against the kitchen worktop, wherever you are. Just take the moment to breathe and just relax, but leave your eyes open for this one. So first of all, look around and notice 5 things you can see. Just noticing what's around you, maybe what's out of the window. Look up and look down. Notice 5 things you can see. And then tune into your hearing and notice 4 things you can hear. Notice the sounds around you. They might be very low, hummy sounds. There might be distinct sounds outside. It might just be the sound of your own breathing or your body moving. And then notice 3 things you can feel. Now you may need to move a little bit, move your hands around. So it might be things you can touch with your hands. It might also be things you can feel against your body, the chair, your clothes. Just notice 3 things you can feel. And then have a go at 2 things you can smell. You may not have noticed them before. And a top tip here, your clothing may have some washing fabric on it, fabric wash now. And then finally, 1 thing you can taste. So if you have a drink handy, you can taste that or something to eat, or it may just be what's in your mouth, what's on the air today. There we are. And that's that activity done. Very simple and straightforward. But what you might like to think about is if you were going to use that in the moment, you could be anywhere and you just kind of settle into using that to help calm down some anxiety. And practicing it is what makes it easier to use. So you probably won't remember those things if that's the first time you've done it. Remember those things. There'll be a recording so you can check and try later as well. But also think about what you would like to be able to see around you, what you'd like to be able to hear, feel, smell, and taste. And where, as you practice it more intentionally as a planned practice, having some nice things around you to make that a really positive experience as you practice it. And you can also have a go at doing it in different situations. What if you did it sat in the car, on a park bench, and things like that as well? Okay.
So I'm going to be doing a little exercise which helps us to let go of things that we don't want to take with us into the future. Now, the first thing to do is to, if you can, make your space your own. And I know that's not possible for everybody, but I have come to the end of the room. I've lit the fire, which is quite important for this exercise, the way I'm going to do it, but it's also not essential if you don't have a fire, which most of us don't. I've also lit a candle. I've made myself some hot chocolates, and I've got my dog on the floor out of sight because he may do anything weird, as you know, but he's curled up in his bed snoring. You may hear him. I'm sitting on a little beanbag. I've got my fluffy slippers on. I've made myself comfortable. So do treat yourself as though you're somebody that you like, because sometimes I think we forget to do that. Treat yourself as if you're a really good friend. And with our pen and paper, write a list of things that you're grateful for. So I know that some of you are quite used to doing gratitude practice, in which case you can probably just start writing. If you're in a position where you're thinking, well, what is there to be grateful for? This is a hopeless situation. Start small. Start with, I got out of bed today. Maybe if you didn't get out of bed, but you've got to bed, it's cozy, it's a warm place. That's something to be grateful for. You've woken up, maybe you've had breakfast. Maybe you can hear the birds singing. The next list is where we go deeper. And now think of what's been a challenge. So you might decide to choose over the last year. You might choose to choose what has been a challenge today. Things that you've found hard. Just write them down, and writing them down will hopefully help to release them. I don't want you to get into a place of gloom, thinking about everything that's difficult, but actually putting it into words hopefully will help. So now you're going to choose what you don't want to take forward. And that might just be a mindset. It might be an emotion that you think doesn't serve you anymore. So, for example, I get very angry as a carer, and I know that's something that's shared with a lot of carers. We feel very hard done by. We feel that when we try to access services, we get pushed back. And then as a natural response, we can get angry, and I do. But I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to be that person. And I really want to move on from that. So I've written down here, I release the anger I feel towards the authorities. Quite a big one. I'm going to rip it off and make a ceremony of it if you can. And the important thing is to say it out loud. It's all one thing writing it down, but say it out loud. And then you will realize how difficult it is to let go of. I release the anger I feel towards the authorities. And there it goes in the fire. I've got one more, and this is, I let go of my anxiety around dealing with the GP. And in it goes. So that concludes my activity. I'm very much enjoying sitting here in front of the fire, which I think is about to go out, but I'll hand you back to Suzanne. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. That was lovely. I'm really thinking about maybe I'll stick mine in the compost bin and let the worms have them, but have a little ceremony out there. And I loved as you put those in, the flame suddenly really roared for a moment there and really took action there. So lovely. Lucy, let's come to you next.
Hello, everyone. So Karen's already briefly touched on what's good in our lives. You know, you might have come up with a little list, short list there. And my activity is going to build on that. So moving away from letting go of unwanted feelings, now we're going to focus on the things that we feel positive about in our lives. And so you will need a pen and paper for this. And this exercise, this activity is called the 5 Petals of Positivity. And I want you to draw a really simple flower with 5 petals on it. And you can see an example here, photograph. So the activity is the 5 Petals of Positivity. Draw a basic flower with 5 petals. And then what we're going to do is spend some time thinking about what we feel positive about in our lives. Really looking for the good that is there. I know that it's sometimes really hard to see, and that's why it's good to spend some time actually searching for the good in our lives, because it can actually improve our mindset. And what you're going to do is write down one thing that you feel positive about in each of the petals. So that's a total of 5 things, and we're going to spend some time doing that. For example, on mine here, one thing that I'm grateful for is having really lovely hugs with family members. It's something that I really, really treasure, that makes me feel good. So I've written that in one of the petals. I'm just going to give you some time to fill in your petals with something you feel positive about. Whilst you're doing that, I'll just read through some other things that I wrote on my flower. The others are spending time with good close friends that understand my situation. I also feel really positive about the fact that we can eat some good food sometimes, that we have some delicious home cooked meals. And then I've got music that plays an important role in my life. And the other one, my 5th one for me, was walking in the countryside. So those are my 5. You could come up with completely different things. There's no right or wrong answer here, but just spend some time filling in your petals of positivity. Once we've done that, add in a leaf at the bottom of your flower. And that's where we're going to now focus our minds on watering a change. What additional positive thing that doesn't currently exist in our lives, but we want to bring in? And write that in your leaf. Perhaps you want more of something. Perhaps you want to learn something new. But spend some time thinking about what additional positive thing can you bring into your life. But that's a really, really simple activity called the 5 petals of positivity.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Lucy. A lovely thing to share. Nicola, come on then. Let's let Nicola share what she has to share. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. I'm going to be talking about understanding our non-negotiable needs. As carers, we often put others' needs before our own. And while this comes naturally to many of us, it's crucial to remember that our needs matter too. So we'll explore what those needs are and how we can honour them while continuing our caring responsibilities. So let's look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a framework that helps us understand human needs from basic survival requirements through to personal growth. You can see it's a pyramid with 5 levels. At the base are daily physical needs. These are things like food, water, sleep, and shelter. Above that, we have safety needs. This might be financial security and physical safety. Then come our safe social needs, and that's the need for love and belonging, followed by esteem needs like feeling valued and respected. And finally, at the top, we have self-actualization, and that's around reaching our potential and growing as individuals. But this may feel like a lot, so here's the important part. We don't need to perfectly satisfy every level before working on the others. As carers, there will always be things that we can't control. So instead, think of it as a helpful guide to identify what might be missing from our lives. Let me share some practical examples from our caring community. One carer discovered that getting their hair done wasn't just about appearance. It was a precious time to themselves where they sat down in the chair and the stress melted away. And another found joy in creating a dementia-friendly garden with their loved one, which combines care with personal interest. So now I encourage you to think about your non-negotiable needs. These are the absolute essentials that help you function and feel well. They don't have to be big, grand things. For some of us, it's just about getting outside for that 5 minutes of fresh air once a day. And some other things that carers in the community have shared about their non-negotiable needs are a daily walk in the park, 10 minutes of meditation, a proper cup of coffee in peace, a regular video call with friends or family, or making a little bit of time for a hobby, even if it's just a short amount of time. So meeting these needs, it's not selfish, it's essential. When we're depleted, we can't provide the quality of care that we want to give. Think of it like the oxygen mask principle on aeroplanes. We need to secure our own mask first, and then we can help others effectively. Now, it's a lot of content that I've just covered there, and if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed about where to start, here are 3 simple steps. So 1, identify just 1 or 2 non-negotiable needs for yourself. 2, look for a small pocket of time in your day, just a couple of minutes where it might be realistic to fit it in. And then 3, just start with a small achievable change and build that into your day. So yes, remember that it's not a luxury to take care of ourselves, it's a necessity.
Lovely. Thank you, Nicola. And really just that concept of the hierarchy of needs. Don't worry too much about the detail, but hopefully that inspired you to think about the different types of needs, but also those top tips about just starting small, identifying a few needs that kind of seem obvious, and then putting a small amount of time, something achievable to be able to focus on those needs. Thank you, Nicola. That was lovely. And lastly, Awais, let's hear what you have to share.
So my one's visualization. Visualization is more about how we focus on those needs in our mind to really get to where we want to. So a study found that participants who took part in this study found that those who imagined exercise saw a boost in their strength after several weeks. So that shows you how much we really need to tap into our mind to kind of build that strength within us as well. So if you find yourself a comfortable chair, sit down with your feet flat on the floor and start off by taking 3 gentle breaths in and out. And we'll start from the beginning. So we'll start as if we're just waking up. So even though you might be sitting down, just imagine yourself, visualize yourself in your bed. You've woken up and you know what you want to do today. So you've got an idea of an activity. It might even be a trip down to the park. So you might want to take a little stroll down to the park. And so you start up by picturing yourself waking up in the morning. You have nothing else to do apart from this one activity. So you start off by stretching yourself in your mind. You're stretching off, but you can do it physically as well while you're sitting there. But if you want to just do it in your mind, that's perfectly fine too. So you imagine yourself stretching off. You can see your hands in front of you as you're stretching off. And as you look down, you can also see your feet stretching off. And being conscious of how you're breathing. Are you breathing quite fast or is it slow? And just trying to calm that breathing down. And just feeling very relaxed and free, so you can feel a lot of movement within you as well. So as you're sitting there, you want to visualize how you're going to start doing your activity. So you get up from your bed, you walk out, and the door you open takes you straight to a garden. It's a nice temperature. The grass is nice and soft. You might not even have shoes on. That might be quite hard to visualize if you're thinking about taking a stroll down to the park. But just imagine it's a nice clean grass and you can just walk with your shoes off, so it's really comfortable. Or maybe there's a swimming pool in front of you and you want to go in and take a swim. And you're visualizing yourself walking towards it. Or if you're going down to the park, just being conscious of what you walk past. There might be a cat meowing on the side. You can hear bushes rustling or the wind blowing through the leaves. You can feel the sun on your skin as well. And just imagining yourself walking. If you're walking nice and tall, really stretching out. You know, you can feel your neck stretching, your body's very relaxed, you're very comfortable. And feeling the natural swing of your arms and the stride of your legs. and you're going towards your activity, or you might already have started doing your activity. So if you're jogging, and you might not have been done jogging in years, but just imagine yourself in your mind, you're jogging, and you can just feel the energy going through your legs. You can remember what that feeling felt like. And you feel yourself picking up pace and momentum. And then as you're going through your activity, you remember how it feels, how much you enjoy it. If it's swimming, you might feel that moment, you feel that calmness when you go below the water, and then you come back out. And when you're under the water, you can't hear anything. It's just the calmness of the water. Or if you're jogging, you might feel your breath going faster. And then you slowly bring yourself back as you're slowing down or you're ending your activity. Once again, you just stretch off your arms, your fingers, drop them back down. And if you're sitting down now, just think about relaxing yourself. So starting off with your shoulders, just letting them drop. And often we get a lot of stress and tension around our neck and our cheeks, and just feeling those areas just relax slowly and gradually. And along your forehead, so you might feel like your eyebrows are quite raised. As carers, we get quite tense. Just letting those eyebrows relax as well, your eyes, and just slowly letting your facial features just relax and calm down. And then you can open your eyes back up. And we're back in the room. And just feeling like you've done that exercise there. So it's just a nice little visualization that you can do in the morning. And it might be just to plan your day. So we make up every day, we've got a plan, we know we need to go somewhere, do something, but it's trying to find that energy to do it. And we can't always tap into that energy, but when you visualize it, it will give you that strength and energy. So that's what one of the studies found, it gives that motivation, gives you that energy. If you visualize it in your mind first. So if you really find yourself every morning waking up, struggling, and like I said, it could be, a trip down to Tesco, it could be going to the park, or even just going for your daily walk, but you're finding the struggle, especially in the colder days, that motivation to go, trying to do that when you wake up first thing in the morning. It's really programming your mind into doing that and releasing the endorphins and what you need to really get you going. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Always. That was a clever one, actually. I've not been able to go jogging for a very long time, but to be able to imagine myself, and even I didn't get out of breath in my imaginary jogging. That was lovely. I could go much further. So really powerful what the mind can do, both making things possible, that's hopefully very accessible to everyone in some way, and you make it work for you again. You choose the activities that you can either imagine or remember. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the team for joining in with today's session, and see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.